artificial intelligence is going to eat us alive and the robots are coming, watch out. It's like technology is something that allows everybody who wants to be an entrepreneur. It's more a personal trait. You have to love the adventure, you have to be able to stomach the ups and the downs. I am Rasmus Michaud. I'm the co-founder of The Bureau, which is a premium workplace in Paris, a series of premium workplaces, and the co-author of a book in French called Les robots n'auront pas notre peau, Augmented Humanity. So basically an entrepreneur in the shared workplace environment that likes to share my opinion.
Hello, Rasmus Michaud. We are at the Bureau. You just wrote a book with Laurent Geneslet. It's a book, it's like a tutorial, in fact, a book that everybody should read, every citizen, because it's a very comprehensive summary of the new work techniques, new types of management, a new way of working, of thinking the work, and of course you talk about what everybody talks about, robotization and AI. Can you tell us more about it?
Well, yeah, it's a subject that, of course, I'm very preoccupied with, like everybody should be. Besides starting the Bureau, which is the business and the workplace company that we've started with Laurent, I also teach at university, teach a class in entrepreneurship in the digital age. So, of course, something I talk a lot about with my students. And at a certain point, I came to two conclusions. First, too many doomsday sayers were saying, oh, artificial intelligence is going to eat us alive and the robots are coming, watch out, it's like Mars attacks. As I was like, I don't think so. I think we have to understand technology, we have to apprehend it, and we have to put it to good use for us. And I think, of course, whenever there is something unknown, whether it's a Mexican immigrant or artificial intelligence, you tend to want to build walls. And you know, I'm the kind of guy.
Scared about it.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who doesn't like to build walls. And so I think, you know, artificial intelligence technology is amazing because it allows us to create a lot of value as human beings. It allows us to stop doing boring, repetitive tasks and actually have machines do it so we can concentrate on what we're good at as humans, as being social, as being creative, as being empathetic. It's coming up with ways to improve our livelihoods, etc. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about in the book.
What is being an entrepreneur in the digital age?
I think it's being somebody who wants to test new limits and somebody who has found out that it's really not that difficult. Thanks to technology, everything is possible. Something we talk a little about in the book is that, you know, thanks to technology, you know, if you look at how companies and organizations were built in the past, very hierarchical organizations, and you would justify positions of power or financial positions because you had access to information and you had a network. I think technology is something that allows everybody who wants to be an entrepreneur. It's pretty easy to do, much easier than 30 years ago. It's very easy you can incorporate your company online, you can hire people online, etc. Not everybody is made to be an entrepreneur. You have to have...
That's another story.
But that's more a personal trait. You have to love the adventure, you have to be able to stomach the ups and the downs. And
in your book, you're very much oriented towards a new understanding of the workforce, but it's also leading to a better return for companies. It's a win-win situation. Is this why you developed the Bureau in Paris?
First of all, you see a societal trend. Where is society heading? Why would it make sense to create this kind of business? Why would I want to manage it? Yeah. And I found a way to plug that into something that makes sense from a macro perspective. And I managed to convince a business partner who is a very analytical and numbers-driven partner. So he jumped into it. Some pretty savvy investors jumped into the boat with us. So I think we're onto something. But I don't think they would have invested if it weren't for my very pragmatic business partner and the passion that I also bring into the project. But it would lack the human touch. And so there's going to be plenty of opportunities for people to create value, to stay in jobs and create companies. And I can't predict what it's going to be. But no, for sure, you know, today with software, an architect can do a project much faster than, you know, when my dad was an architect, he had to have a drawing board on a piece of paper and took a lot more time. And today, an architect can do a lot more projects. And so technology helps us to be more productive and be more creative because the computers can do the boring stuff.
But you know, it's true what you say, because you're citing something, I think it's PwC or somebody else, who said that the highest rate of robotization is in Japan, South Korea,
Germany.
and they have the lowest rate of unemployment.
Exactly.
So you're right, the human interaction is very important.
Yeah, but I think it's also it's about, you know, in France, people are scared of the robots because you still have unemployment. You know, Germany, you don't have unemployment. South Korea and Japan and Switzerland, you don't have unemployment.
Yeah, that's a great figure. I mean,
in America, you don't have unemployment. So because people have actually understood how to create value with the technology and have been able to. So you have the famous bullshit jobs, of course, and we need to do something about that. And that's why we talk a lot about vocational training and people need
the
to
gig
understand.
economy you're
The
talking
gig
about
economy,
in
exactly,
the
but
book.
also
Yeah.
in Germany, for instance, you know, vocational training has been there for a long time. So a factory worker will become a robot supervisor because they'll understand the technology.
So what's next for you?
What's next for me is to create a multinational of well-being at work or pleasure at work.
Wow, that's great.
You know, so no, but you know, we have a lot of fun developing this building and seeing the community that's gathering around it. And you know, a lot of people came to say, okay, I just need the space for 3 months for me to find a proper office, and they found out it's great, and so they sign on for long term. And if we can replicate that and have that kind of impact everywhere, and have fun doing so, because you know, we find a beautiful building, we decorate it, we set up a restaurant, we hire cool people to run it.
And have more people happy around
Yeah,
it.
but it's amazing. It's amazing. So that's what's next. That's what I want to spend the next 10 years doing. And then, you know, maybe that can turn into some kind of hospitality concept for the modern entrepreneur or something. I don't know.
What disruptive idea, what riot idea could you have as an entrepreneur?
Well, there's plenty of ideas. I mean,
But really disruptive.
well, the really disruptive idea I look forward to is autonomous cars and electric cars. I think it's going to change the city landscape and the way we live the cities in so many ways. I mean, if you look at it, a car is an ugly piece of metal that's standing on the street. It can be the most well-designed piece of metal on the street. Get rid of that, and we have a lot of trees and just some electric cars that don't make noise and don't take up too much space. We don't need to park because they can park themselves. The landscape of the city is going to change completely. If you can put your kids, even small kids, in an autonomous car that drives them to the kindergarten, you can live in the countryside, and a lot of things will change in the way we think about the space, the way we organize our lives. I think that's going to be amazing. And I think that is the space that will revolutionize our ways in much the same way as discovering how to make fire did.
So, what has been your greatest lie?
My greatest lie. When I saw this building, I told the owner I had plenty of investors who were ready to invest in the business and put a
So
year's guarantee.
if he listens to you,
Oh, he knows. So, you know, fake it till you make it. So
That's
you know,
right.
so in the end, what we said, like, we got an exclusivity period to negotiate the lease, which we also used to raise money. So, you know, we got a building without having the investors. So we kind of, you know, made the egg before the chicken, but it kind of worked out.
great. Thank you, Rasmus.
Thanks a lot to you.